So there's a thunderstorm outside and my internet is down, so I thought this is a good chance to make a video. So I apologize in advance if you hear any thunder outside. Yeah, it is raining hard. So these are the top scariest books I've ever read. And this author that comes in at number 6 and number 5, he's the only author on this list that appears twice. No Stephen King, so that's a surprise. But yeah, that just goes to show how scary I thought these books were. So yeah, this author, I wouldn't recommend him to anybody. Like, not everybody is gonna jive with his type of writing. He writes a bunch of like awkward, very awkward and disturbing sex scenes. And he does that in almost all of his books. So that makes me question what type of person he is. But other than that, I think his horror is really scary, better than Stephen King. So, but yeah, so the book that's coming in at number 6 is The Mailman by Bentley Little. Yeah, Bentley Little is good at taking something very simple like The Mailman and making it really, really creepy. So this new mailman comes into town and he slowly starts to take over the town and turn it into chaos. At first, everybody likes the new mailman because they're getting letters, like the letters start off as good news letters. For example, you may get a letter from somebody you haven't heard in a long time and you reconnect with that person. Or you may get a letter saying you won some money or something like that. And no one was getting any bills. And then slowly it starts to get worse and worse and worse. And so, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but I have a habit of staying up all night. And so I'm up in the very early hours of the morning. So I have the habit of going and sitting on the porch and putting on my headphones and listening to an audiobook. And yeah, I was listening to this one, and my house is surrounded by trees, by woods. So I would get to the scary parts in this book, and like the mailman was really getting under my skin. And so I would imagine him like coming out of the woods and stalking me. And I've never been scared of a mailman before, but this book made me scared of a fucking mailman. That's just how good it was at the horror. So, but yeah, that's book number 6. So at number 5 is another Bentley Little book, The Haunted. And this is about a family that moves into a haunted house. And I've never seen a haunted house written like this one. So it's always a good breath of fresh air when you read something that's similar to what you've read before but does it in a different way. And that's this book. I've read a lot of haunted house books, and just to have this one be a little more unique was good to see. So yeah, the little boy in the book, he's having dreams of this creepy fucking man in their basement, and he's always standing in the corner like with a big smile on his face, and his teeth are so white that the book says they almost glow. And just the image I would get, for some reason it reminds me of some old man in Courage the Cowardly Dog. I always get that in my head when I think about this entity in the basement. And also, his sister is getting these weird, creepy text messages. So, yeah, I really liked the book. The ending wasn't too good. It's very anticlimactic, but the horror was really, really creepy. And it stuck with me for a while. Especially this one scene where, well, I can't get into that because that's a spoiler. But yeah, there's some really unnerving scenes in this book, and I think Bentley Little does a very good job at writing horror. Now, I don't own the physical book for number 4, but number 4 is going to be Deliver Us from Evil, and I forget the author's name, So hopefully I could put a picture up of it on the screen. But yeah, it's been a while since I read this book, so I'm a little hazy on the details, but I know it dealt with like this entity mimicking people's loved ones and family to try to, or loved ones and friends, to try to lure them out so this thing could attack them. And so, yeah, that one had some really, really unnerving, creepy ass scenes in that too. Like, somebody would hear a voice coming from their crawl space or something, and it would be somebody they know trying to lure them into the crawl space or lure them into the basement. So, shit like that always gets to me because when something is pretending to be your loved one, somebody you trust to lure you out and attack you, that is just beyond scary to me. And there will be another book with that similar premise later on. But yeah, so two books with that same similar thing made this list. So yeah, that's one of my biggest fears is being tricked into being harmed. So, but yeah, that is number 4. So these next 3 books are my favorite horror books of all time. So at number 3 is The Elementals by Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell. Um, so this book, I've done a review on it before, like 2 years ago, but I've read this book twice in the last 2 years. I like to read it every year. But yeah, now the details are kind of hazy for this one as well, since it's been almost a year now since I read it. But anyway, so 2 families go. They have this yearly tradition of going and staying at the beach, and they stay at there's these 3 beach houses, and they stay in the first 2. The third one is filling up with sand, and it's no longer, there's thunder right there, but yeah, it's no longer used. So, but everybody, when they go there, they always get this weird feeling about the third house. But when they leave from there, they forget that feeling until they go back the next year and they remember, oh yeah, we don't like this fucking house. It's creepy. But yeah, there's a creepy entity that haunts that third house. And when the book describes what this entity looks like, it's a nightmare fuel. So, well, for me at least, there's some people I've told about it that didn't really find it creepy, but it's subjective. So what creeps me out may not creep you out. But yeah. So if you want more in-depth thoughts on this book, you can check out my review. I'll put a card right here for you. So for these next 2, I don't have reviews for them on my channel, but they're coming, trust me, because I haven't talked enough about these books. They blew me away when I read them, and these are going to be yearly reads every year. So yeah, so number 2 is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. This book was so fucking scary to me because it's the other book that I mentioned that was like number 4, Deliver Us from Evil. This one also has a monster that mimics your family members and friends to lure you out to it. So that's always going to terrify me. So yeah, but this one was just a good story and terrifying situations. So this book was based on the author and his wife. His wife in real life talks in her sleep and sleepwalks and stuff. So he made a scary story out of it. And the book started out as a creepypasta, I believe. And you can also listen to that creepypasta on YouTube. But something I've always wondered is, well, for me, when I listen to creepypastas on YouTube, I always wonder why horror books can't be that scary, because creepypastas to me, just about all of them, are more scarier than most horror books I've read. Why is that? So when we finally get a creepypasta in book form, it automatically went to the top because this book was just that damn scary. So the book is about Felix and his wife going and staying at this cabin in the woods, and this monster coming out of the woods at night and talking to his wife in her sleep. Felix he'll wake up during the night and hear his wife talking, whispering in her sleep, and he can hear the thing downstairs outside talking back to her, and she's answering this thing while she's in her sleep. So, and I don't want to ruin it because I went into this book blind, and it surprised the hell out of me because I didn't know much about it, and I could not put this book down. It took me 2 days probably to read it all, and I never read that fast, so I always pace myself. And yeah, I could not put this book down. When I would put it down, that's all I could think about until I picked the book back up. So yeah, I highly recommend this. So at number 1 is Pen Pal by Dathan Arbach. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, this book fucked me up. I read this about a week ago, so it's my most recent read out of all these books, and I cannot stop thinking about it. The only reason why this made it to number 1 is because this book, the events that happen in this are realistic. They can actually happen. The main character is an adult, and he's telling about these creepy events that happened to him when he was little. And he was young back then, so he didn't really understand what was happening. But by the end of the book, you learn that all these little events are connecting, and the ending is what scars me so bad. What makes it hard to forget, and what haunts me ever since I read it. So anyway, it's a stalker story, and this book was also based on a no sleep story, I think, creepypasta. Why can't horror books be more like this? I don't understand. Why can't horror books be written like creepypastas? I don't know, because I like creepypastas more. They're more scary than reading a horror book. I don't know why. But yeah, this one blew me out of the water as well, just like number 2 and number 3. So the ending will probably have you in tears. You'll probably be deeply disturbed like I was, and haunted for at least a month. It probably won't wear off until a month after. But I don't see how anybody could not be deeply disturbed after reading this book. If you're not, then there's something probably wrong with you mentally. But anyway, I'll probably be doing separate reviews on Pen Pal and Stolen Tongues. But yeah, if you have any recommendations for me, leave them down in the comments. If there's any books that I haven't read that are really fucking scary, leave your recommendations down in the comments. If there's any books similar to Pen Pal and Stolen Tongues, let me know. And if there's any other creepypasta books that I haven't read, leave them down in the comments. But yeah, I'm also planning on doing a Bentley Little video about his books. Maybe I'll do my top 5 favorites of his. But yeah, guys, that'll be it for this video. I hope you liked it, and I will see you later.